Hi, I'm Sophia and welcome back to Coming Home to Her. In today's episode, I want to talk about things that I have been into, what my routine currently looks like, and just small things that make me happy at the moment. It's just going to be very chill and a little bit of a get to know you and a little rapid fire. I feel like the past few weeks, my previous episodes have been pretty deep and pretty reflective, which I love, but I also think sometimes we need a little bit of joy. Not that the other ones aren't joyful, but something light, something fun, something that you can kind of zone out to and have in the background. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I want to talk about my morning ritual, or something that really makes me happy that I honestly look very much forward to every day when I wake up. And that is my coffee or my matcha. I would say that I am a creature of habit. And so in the mornings, these small things that I like to do really make my day and make me really happy. I notice that if I have to wake up super early and I don't get to make my little beverage in the morning, I get a little sad or just like, oh no. And so I love making a cappuccino in the morning or a very foamy matcha. And being able to just kind of sit down and drink something warm or iced, depends if it's like 35 degrees outside, which it currently is. But just kind of that little moment with myself and enjoying my beverage really means a lot to me, I have to say. Another thing that I love, I have to say, is my skincare. If you didn't know, I previously struggled with hormonal acne for many years, which was very frustrating and something that I was really insecure about and upset about years ago. And magically, I healed it through the help of a very intense Accutane course. And although that was, of course, challenging and annoying in its own way, it really gave me back kind of this sense of confidence around my face. I remember I was so embarrassed to even have like my hair behind my ear like this, and a ponytail was never, and so I always hid my face, which is really sad to think about when I look back. So since I would say I healed my skin, I also am super into improving my skincare, making my skin texture and quality better, because I do have some acne scars, which is just a part of the process. It's fine. I personally have melasma, which is in full force in this summer heat that has started, and something that irritates me, but I love doing my lasers, which I did 2 weeks ago, and now I need to start kind of like a new cream to take away my pigmentation that is flourishing. And otherwise, I notice I cannot live without my skincare. Not even that I notice, it's a fact. I can't go to bed without washing my face and putting on my serums and lotions, but I'm just a girl, so I think my future 50-year-old self is going to thank me for being very diligent and wearing lots of SPF on a daily basis. So that's another thing that I personally am currently obsessed with and something that I really love. Something else is my workout classes. I have always been a really big fitness girly, I would say. My childhood in general was very active. We would run around our huge yard for hours, and that's what we would do, and chase each other and jump on the trampoline 24/7 and go to the beach all the time and go surfing and horseback riding with my childhood best friends. And so an active life, I would say, has always been very part of me and something I can't live without. A few years ago, and I would say when I was in high school, I was really into HIIT and CrossFit and stuff, which I no longer am. I have finally kind of come to a place, I would say, where I've really learned what works for my body, and everyone is different. I personally don't feel great when I do HIIT classes because I just feel very inflamed and just kind of like swollen, which almost defeats the purpose in my opinion because I want to feel snatched, but I don't get that effect. So in general, I would say that I do a lot of Pilates because I'm just a girl again. And I have most recently been more into Legree and things like that. I love my yoga. It's really good for my mental health and makes me very zen. I went to a class with a friend the other day where by the end of it, we both looked at each other like, oh, we almost fell asleep. That was so nice. And just kind of those small things that make you more present in your breathing, which is something I need. I'm sure you also need. And otherwise, my partner and I like to go on long runs. So we usually do that once or twice a week. And that's kind of when I'm feeling energetic and like I want to suffer a little bit. So that is my workout life that I enjoy. And of course, just walking and, just moving my body makes me feel good. I would say that I am the type of person who loves to hang out at a cafe. When I need to work on my computer and do my things, I usually go to a cafe every day. And I am a bit of a creature of habit, I have to say, so I notice that I tend to frequent the same places, although I have a massive list on my phone of cafes that I am hopefully going to try or waiting to try. Personally, I've said it before, but I kind of lose my mind if I stay home for too long. It's like the four walls enclose into me, and it's not a vibe for me. So I have to leave. And just the aspect of sitting there, people watching, although sometimes I usually have my headphones in and I completely block out all the sound and either blast music or listen to a podcast, just that kind of sense and feeling of being in an office almost and having people around me makes me feel more complete, I would say. I'm extremely social, so I don't do well if I'm alone for too long, just because I need to have some sort of, like my therapist always calls it, you need to exchange energy. And yeah, I have to say I love a cafe. Diving into food, something that I absolutely love, and I would say one of my favorite foods is when I am in certain cities or in the US or something, I always crave a Caesar salad. In my opinion, France has the best Caesar salad because they have very crispy chicken, which is obviously not healthy for you because it's deep fried and covered in cornflakes, but I love it. And I love a Caesar salad. For me, I would say my favorite, if I was going out in the evening with some friends and wanted to have a drink or have drinks, my go-to kind of favorite thing would be a dirty martini with a Caesar salad and some French fries or an Aperol. So that's something I would say now coming into the summer months that I'm very much looking forward to. I'm actually going to do that today with a few friends. And another thing, since I live in Vienna now, is I'm obsessed with the Wiener Schnitzel. That for me is incredible. I guess I had my first one kind of in Brazil. It's called frango à milanesa, but that's with chicken, obviously. Same, but different. But for myself, I don't know why, but I love everything that's covered in breadcrumbs or cornflakes or something and is fried with some chicken or veal inside. So those are my two things that I am obsessed with. And otherwise, I don't know. I love chocolate, like a chocolate mousse. I'm not really like a big dessert person, but in the past week, I've been having dessert every day since we were going out to dinner a lot, and that was incredible. So those are small fun facts about my food that I love. Diving into what I am currently watching. If I'm honest, I'm not really a show person by myself. I tend to just stay on my phone and scroll or read a book, which I'm trying to get back into reading because I have phases of being super into my books. And then if I stop and don't get another book, I haven't been in the swing of it. So the shows that we have recently watched is, the one that I loved the most this year that I've watched so far is called Vier Blocks. It's actually a German show, and it's about this side of Berlin where they really created a story that is very authentic, I would say, about this, drug trafficking and gangs and everything that goes around it. It is in German, but I did have English subtitles. And it was funny because my partner was making fun of me, saying that, oh no, you're going to start speaking like them and that's going to be the German you learn, but it's not true. But that was probably my favorite show that we watched this year. Another one was Game of Thrones. I never watched Game of Thrones when it came out. I don't know why. I think I was very opposed to it for quite a long time. And then we binged watched it and I fell in love at the end. I wish another season would come out, but I think they can't change how it ended. And the other one was also House of Dragon, which I was also pleasantly content with. And is it third season comes out now in June? So I'm looking forward to that. Something else that I recently purchased that is or has been a game changer for me that I'm super into is my lip tint from Wonder Skin. I'm actually wearing it. I don't know if you can tell. Sometimes I put it on, sometimes I don't. But I do notice that I love a pop of color, and it makes just a bit of difference that you feel like your lips are perhaps a bit more lined and pronounced. I never got into the whole lip liner situation. I don't know why, but this, at least when I'm going out, which I am a little bit later, just, then I have something on my lips that I don't need to constantly reapply. So highly recommend. I feel quite passionate about it, and I've been recommending it to my friends as well to just, use it to see what it does. I wanted to also touch base on kind of my situation of living in Vienna and how this transition has been. At the moment, I have been traveling a lot this month, so I have been also out of my routine. And of course, when you are traveling, you have to enjoy the things that you usually don't do. I spoke to my therapist yesterday and I was like, oh my God, I haven't slept. Like really, I feel like I've been sleeping so poorly since I left. But also, I guess that's just a part of vacation sometimes, and you tend to go to bed a bit later, you go out for dinner more, those kind of things that really change your routine, honestly. But in regard to staying consistent, the things that I have been doing is, first and foremost for myself, exercise really helps my mood in general and just is something that kind of grounds me while I'm on vacation. And also I don't feel so bloated because, of course, I've been eating more and eating different things than usual. Another thing is, making sure that I am doing the things that I still need to do, my responsibilities on my computer, and the small things like admin work, attending my German classes, speaking to my therapist, those kind of things. And also just embracing that it is perhaps a bit chaotic and looking at the side of, wow, like I'm having so much fun. This is so, wonderful and enjoyable. I actually the other week was kind of stressed because I had things I needed to do on my computer, but we were just enjoying our time at the beach and I brought my computer, but you know how that goes. So it's not very successful. But then also kind of taking it back and telling myself like, it's okay. A few days is not going to destroy the things that I need to work on. Just close the computer, block it out, and, get back into your routine when your Wi-Fi is more stable or whatever it is. So that's kind of been a little update. And in terms of Vienna, I would say that it's really growing on me. When I initially moved at the end of October, but then I was gone for a few months and then came back, it was really difficult. I landed there in the end of January and it was -8 degrees Celsius. And I cried from the airport home because I was just like, oh my gosh, I've never been in such cold weather like that. I am an island girl at heart. I love my bikini, my shorts, my tank top. I want to wear nothing else. But reality is different. It took me a while, I would say, but I've been really consistent, I would say, and focused this year of just, although perhaps I was struggling in my own way and feeling a bit lonely and out of whack, honestly, of just, doing the things that I know make me feel good, focusing on the things I need to do, and also making new friends. Bumble Friends is great. I've met some really nice girls through that. And also I have found for myself, once I start forcing myself out of the house and doing things alone, I tend to meet people naturally, and I've made some really nice friends through that. So that's something that I am very grateful for. And otherwise, Vienna's growing on me. It helps that spring is ending, summer is starting, and I think the whole EU in general really lights up when it comes to this time of year. So I can't complain. And otherwise, I also look forward to go home, which is a really nice feeling as well. So yeah, things get better, of course, naturally. I think also when you move to a new place, you really just have to kind of give yourself time, and you're not going to feel at home overnight, and you have to establish that yourself. So that's really been my mission, and I can proudly say that I am very happy, which is a wonderful feeling. And I wanted to do a little rapid fire to close this off because I haven't done that before, and I thought it would be a great idea. So, first question is current mood. I would say happy and thankful. That's 2 words, but I don't want to fit it into 1 word. The second question is current song on repeat. I love my Brazilian funk. If you didn't know, now you know. And the one song that I think I've listened to probably 50,000 times already this year that's most likely going to be my number 1 Spotify song is called Posso Até Não Te Dar Flores. Very generic, popular 2026 Brazilian funk song, but I love it. It gets me in the mood, and my Brazilianness comes out of me, which I absolutely love. And the other question I have is current guilty pleasure. That's a great question. What am I currently... I feel like bread. I eat bread every day. That's my guilty pleasure, so that's what I would say. And my current biggest distraction. Oh my gosh. My current biggest distraction. I have to say it's my phone. I think we can all admit to that. I hate when I'm scrolling, or especially some days, you're extra attached to your phone, which is super irritating. So that is my biggest distraction, but I try to be conscious about it and turn it on Do Not Disturb and hide it away. And the last question I have is current thing making me unreasonably happy. Sunshine. I thrive when the sun is out, and it's so crazy. I can see a huge shift in my mood, which is, pros and cons of living in the EU where there's not much sun half of the year, but it's fine. We can always escape. And so, yeah, I would say that is my biggest happiness thingy, if I can say that. But of course, there are 20,000 things to always be grateful for. If you would be so kind to do so, I would really appreciate if you could like this episode and subscribe and maybe leave a little cute comment, because we support each other. So thank you for listening and enjoy your day. Bye.